You're watching the PIX11 News at 4.
Another round of Broadway shows closed because of COVID cases. Now, with more than a dozen shows dark, what does this mean for the safety of Broadway? Thanks for staying with us. I'm Tamsin Fidel.
And I'm Craig Treadway. Vanessa has the day off. Broadway shows returned 4 months ago with a number of protocols in place to keep workers and audience members safe. But in the past week, 13 shows have shut down because of breakthrough cases as the Omicron variant rapidly spreads.
And joining us now to talk about this COVID compliance officer for the Broadway community, Dr. Linda Dahl. Thanks so much for being with us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I know you're busy, a lot to talk about. Well, as a COVID compliance officer, what role have you been playing in helping keep first the cast members and the production members safe?
Well, to be clear, I've been a COVID compliance officer for television and film since August of 2020. And my role in those productions was more on the ground running the teams. For Broadway, they actually every show has its own COVID compliance officer in the building. So for Broadway, it's a little different. I'm medically supervising, but as you can see here, this is more of the on the ground work that I was doing in television and film.
Well, let's talk about the current spread of the Omicron virus. When did you start to see an uptick in COVID cases, and how fast has this been spreading in the Broadway community?
The uptick I saw probably the first week of December, and it's a smattering here and there. And also in the Broadway community, especially, the testing is rigorous. I mean, a lot of shows, many of them are testing every single day. So we're catching cases before the rest of the population really even knows that they have them. And it's been spreading remarkably fast. We have, handfuls of positive tests per day. So a lot of it's about managing not only the spread of COVID in the theater with the cast and crew, but also having enough people standing by to cover the roles for the people who have gotten COVID so that the shows can keep going on.
Well, what are the producers of Broadway shows doing right now to protect their cast members, staff, and audiences?
They're doing so much work. It's heroic. They're doing, everyone is screened to make sure that they are vaccinated, fully vaccinated, the cast, crew, and the audience. And the crews and the cast are getting very rigorous testing. They're wearing masks. There's a tremendous amount of hygiene. They're housed in different places, and they're using as much social distancing as possible. It's really, Broadway before the pandemic is a community I've been working with it would have been 17 years by the time I shut down my practice, but they were already hardworking, and with COVID and all of the work that they're doing to keep everyone safe in COVID, it's absolutely heroic, the work that they're doing.
Okay, well, the question everyone's asking, if you have tickets to see a Broadway show, do you think it's still safe to go?
Sure. I think it's probably one of the most safe places to go, especially because, like I said, they're doing so much testing of their cast and crew. And when you go into a restaurant, when you go to the store, when you go to other workplaces, they aren't necessarily doing testing. They're checking for vaccination cards. But on Broadway, it's very rigorous. It's safe. It's a 2-hour break from what we're going through. And I think as long as these shows can keep running, supporting the arts and supporting the Broadway community is very important.
Well, one final question. When the pandemic hit, you were a top ENT doctor serving the Broadway community at the time. After the shutdown, you pivoted to become a COVID compliance officer. What has that been like for you across the board? Because that's a big change.
Yeah, it's a big change. Shutting down the practice was a surprise. And it wasn't something that I'd chosen, but once it happened, I kind of had to embrace it and find other ways to help help the community and with, using the skill set that I had. Yeah, but it went from being in the office, seeing 125 patients a week, to being on these parts of these huge productions with maybe 350 cast and crew with locations all over the city. And yeah, it's a complete change. It's nothing like anything I've done before. But now with Broadway coming back, it's all kind of coming full circle because I can help them with their COVID compliance, but I can also help treat them as a doctor as well. And that's really rewarding to be able to have that back.
Oh, one thing, no doubt, you are a busy doctor right now. Dr. Linda Dahl, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, take care.